Hi, and welcome back to the All About Love series. I know we have covered many different topics in this series. We've talked about my name is Karen Sims, and welcome to this ongoing series of reflecting on Bell Hooks's All About Love trilogy of books. In it, she really spends a lot of time asking us to rethink and revisit love, concepts of love, what it means to love. And I hopefully have been walking you through some of those concepts. We have talked about love and its meaning using Bell Hooks's framework. We've talked about love in relationship to friendship, love in relationship to community, and why it is such an essential component of love. We've also talked recently in our last module, love and its relationship to your sense of self. And it seems weird that we covered love in relationship to yourself sort of later in the journey, in part because I believe I'm quoting Rhonda Britton here that no one is fearless alone. So having community and friends and strong groundedness helps us love ourselves better, especially if you've been impacted by trauma or chronic trauma, complex trauma. Sometimes you gotta see yourself through the eyes of others. Borrowed eyes was one of the exercises we did in the Love Yourself, Your Self Love module. And now, and this may not apply to everybody, but I work with a number of individuals who've really struggled in this area. And so I decided to do a module about dating. And so this is the dating module. I don't know. If I were a betting person, I would say that this is going to be an important module because I have had a scenic tour to get it to you. I have lost it and couldn't find it. The recording I did initially hated the visuals. Uh, and so I'm deciding to re record it just so that it doesn't kill you to look at it. And so here I am again. So maybe the fourth, fifth time, the lost time is a charm. And I hope that this means that for those of you who are single and are searching or who are struggling to figure out how to date well, this might be the answer to some of your prayers. And maybe this can help you find the love that you are seeking or the love that you deserve, or revisit the love that you have if you are happily married, happily partnered, and just want to revisit kind of what good dating looks like because you want to integrate that back into your life. This might also have some useful tips and strategies. So, without further ado, the title of this module, and I'll always remind you when I kind of look off to the side, it's that I'm looking at my notes because I don't want to forget any of the good stuff. But the title of this module is um, Slow Love is, I got it wrong, but it's something like dating well and slow love. So it's some version of that, you know, kill me. You're catching me really authentic, and I promise you, I'm only going to record this well. So, and it comes after the self love module, in part because I don't think you can date well if you aren't grounded in yourself. Now, this does not mean that all of your healing has to occur. I want to say that over and over and over again. You do not have to be perfect or perfectly healed in order to be in a good relationship, in a healthy relationship. I actually think that sometimes a lot of your growth will happen in the context of relationships. So, but knowing who you are, knowing what you want, knowing what you deserve actually sets the good stage for healthy dating. So, just keep remembering that love, according to bell hooks, love is an action. It is never simply a feeling. And so it is always, dating well is always about remembering that love is a verb and we're looking for how people show up for us, not just what they say to us. And I also want to say that because of how dating works and because there's a whole neurobiology about attraction and desire, some of it because of how you're um, as Patty would say from the Millionaire Matchmaker, because your picker gets formed by a combination of, this is also a Mago theory, about what we have learned from our primary caregivers, both good and sometimes not good. That's what kind of settles our attraction in order to override the bad parts of what we're attracted to. Bad, good. I know, very subjective words, but sometimes we get a picker that's formed, and maybe we had a caregiver that was emotionally unavailable. That would be how we know love in our picker. And so, knowing that we want to find someone who isn't emotionally unavailable, so we would need to make, we probably wouldn't feel really attracted to people who are available because that would be unfamiliar to our kind of nervous system and what we think is attractive. And so dating slower with much more intentionality might have us move beyond sort of the physiology of attraction and get to really know someone. So slow and steady is the pace of sometimes dating well, and also dating as a skill. So if you struggle to do it well and you're like, I have just not had good luck, it is not about who you are or there aren't good people out there. It could be that you are missing the communication skills, again, the picker skills. Many of the people that I work with and serve, I think that what they're missing is good, finding the right people so they can show up as the perfect, I mean the really great perfect, as perfect as what, because right, it's hard to identify as perfect, but they could be doing all the right things and be with people who can't receive them. Maybe their partners don't have the capacity. Maybe their partners have addictions. Maybe their partners aren't ready to commit. And so you can be really good. And if the person that you're good for isn't ready for you, right? So just think about it as a skill deficit and that it has to be bi-directional. And so, last but not least, I want you to know that practice makes perfect. And so, if you have really struggled with relationships but haven't had the right tools, sometimes coming back at relationships with the right tools changes the game. So, without further ado, I want to remind you that there are a variety of different attachment styles and that how you approach relationships, how you approach dating, how you try to make this work is often connected to your attachment style. And so if you are you have an anxious attachment style and you want to rush and you want to feel that fast attraction, and as soon as you feel it, you're insecure the whole time and you want to check people's phones and you need to be with people 24/7, anxious. Some people are avoidant, so they love the seeking but never want to find. And as soon as someone is consistent and predictable and great, you start looking for excuses to not make the relationship work, or you'll do the thing to blow up the relationship. You'll reach out to your ex, anxious attachment style, and there are secure attachment styles. So you might actually be wired for more anxiety, but you can learn to date with security, to be okay with not hearing from people every single day, to be okay with them having their own interests and you having your own interests. And the more you date securely, the more you will learn to date securely. It's amazing how that works. But pacing is essential, so that when it evolves, and there's an intensity that grows, ideally, intensity and intimacy that grows, that is authentic, that isn't all just biochemical and hormones. So, and you'll be able to evaluate things like, do they follow through? Do they communicate clearly? How do we repair when there are awkward moments? And there will be awkward moments. There will be times where we aren't connected. There will be times where we have conflict. And if you tell me we never have conflict, that means that you probably aren't bringing things up and you are in your trauma responses, fight, flight, freeze. And it probably means that there are things that you aren't talking about or letting yourself know. Do they respect your pace? And are you your whole self? And are they bringing their whole selves? And then is there a place in the middle where you connect, where you're not puppy puddling? So let's take a pause. If you remember in your self-love tools, part of where you start is paying attention to, what do you need? What do you feel? And where is your nervous system? So, what I hope in this rethinking dating process you will do is make regular time where you slow down and center and ask yourself, what am I feeling? What am I feeling when I think about them? What do I notice that my body is doing? What do I notice about what happens when we're in conversation? What do I notice? What do I feel? What's my body doing? Those are going to be essential questions. And if you find yourself constantly getting lost, constantly checking out, getting to the point where you want to say something and then pulling back, those are all cues around your nervous system. And so, even when you're with them, even taking time to slow down the pace of conversation, slow down, noticing, like, how, if you're riding in the car, how does it feel in the quiet? Does it feel awkward? Do you find yourself wanting to not have any quiet because it makes you feel anxious? Do you feel seen and heard when you're with them? Are they attuning to you? Do you require perfect attunement? So if they say something and it isn't exactly what you want to hear, can you stay connected to them? Or do they never say something that you want to hear? And is that an expectation or a requirement? Things to notice. And there are exercises in your workbook to help you check in with yourself. And so remember that another self-love reframe is that you don't have to do things perfectly. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be aware, not have to. It's just more helpful to be aware and try to be honest, nor do you need a partner to be perfect. You do, or it's much more useful to have a partner who is self aware, who can provide self reflection, and can also be attuned to their wants, needs, and desires. The next section is choosing well. To me, woo, if I am well regulated and we can get to the choosing well module and you can stay centered in yourself, this will be the answer to all your dating woes. So, one of the biggest dating upgrades is moving from labels to really looking for qualities and qualifications. So many of us will say things like, I want someone who's kind and thoughtful or whatever, and we'll throw those words out. And what we don't do is look for evidence that people have the qualities and qualifications that you're looking for. Now, of course, I am not talking about the he needs to be 6 figure feet and he makes 6 figures and he has this kind of car. If you're still trying to look for that kind of stuff, I am not trying to tell you to settle. I am asking you to look for substance over superficial. Because if you are going for the superficial, and I promise you, and you're not looking for substance, you will end up with what you're asking for. Now, again, I am not saying that some of the things that you say you want that are superficial that you should toss out. I am saying that if you really want a good, solid relationship, go for depth and go for significance. Go for how someone makes you feel, and the rest can come and be created together, and you can build together. And at the end of the night, the substance will bring you peace. So, when I ask you to think about your substance list, and this is an exercise in your workbook, really to be thinking about what people look like, what the quality looks like, perhaps what does kindness under stress look like? When someone is stressed out, can they still have the right tone, have the right character, show up, treat you well? How do they treat people that when no one is watching? How do they treat the staff at a restaurant? Maybe not even a fancy restaurant, but just like when you're hanging out at Applebee's or Red Lobster, are they thoughtful? Do they tip well? When you're not looking, are they engaging with children? Do they not only treat their mamas well, but do they treat other extended family members well? What does kindness look like? Are they delivering on what they say? Are they following through? If they make a promise, do they keep it? Because that tells you something about their reliability. We always say actions speak louder than words, and sometimes we'll go with the words and not look for the action. Now, we're looking for character. And there's an exercise to help you walk through all of this. And here's the other little bonus activity. I hope you're not asking for something that you aren't. And if you look at your list of qualities and qualifications, the characteristics that you're looking for, I do want you to have a little bit of self-reflection and say, the things that I am looking for, am I living? Am I kind? Am I a person of my word? Am I trustworthy? Am I safe? And right. And if you are looking for it, I need you to work on embodying it. And it could be that one of the reasons, one of the blocks that the person that you're looking for isn't showing up is because you're not showing up for yourself yet. Because again, a healthy person is looking for a healthy person or a healthier person, or is someone on the health journey. And the other piece of this journey is to constantly be wondering, because no one is perfect and you're not perfect, but is this person willing? Do they have the ability or the capacity to meet my needs? And so they may not be there 100%, but if they are willing to try to get there, they have the ability. So, right? Willing, yeah. And they can. So, do they have the ability? Because they could want to, but not have the ability because maybe they have an addiction, or maybe they got too many other responsibilities, or maybe they can't make me a priority. They want to, but they can't because they are workaholic or emotionally unavailable because they're still grieving or not in a place to be with you. So, willing, ability, and capacity, you're always evaluating that, because if if they don't have the capacity but they have the willingness, you're never going to be happy. And that kind of serves as a kind of litmus test to see if the person that you're with is the right person. Because someone can be phenomenal on paper, they can have a lot of really good qualities and still not be your person, or constantly frustrate you because they're just not ready. And that doesn't make them wrong. It just means they're not ready. And someone could have all the readiness and could still not feel right. And it could be still okay to walk away. So, last but not least, is after you have done some reflection, looked at what you feel, knowing who you are, knowing what you need, knowing what you bring, right? I want to have you do the borrowed eyes activity. So imagine a steady, loving person. Would they accept what you're accepting? Choose the person that you're choosing for yourself, right? Really use the borrowed eyes activity to say, like, is what I'm accepting something that someone who loves me would accept? Is the person that I'm choosing someone, if you were loving me, would you choose this person for me? And again, to see your relationship, see the person you're choosing through the lens of the others, also is this sort of accountability, sort of mirror activity, because sometimes we find ourselves accepting things that are unacceptable because we won't allow ourselves to be seen well and thoroughly. So, borrowed eyes. And then the last thing, and this is completely option. So I added a dating lab activity. And this is for you to sort of experiment and design your dating profile. Now, again, I know many people don't want to do online dating, but I think creating a dating profile is an excellent activity for you to get clear about what you are putting out in the world, about what your ask is. Also, it's a great activity to see if you're clear about what you want, or if you're doing fuzzy, vague words like, and you're wondering why you're meeting Mr. Superficial because all you're putting out is superficial, or you're having to weed through 1,000 people pond because you're not clear and specific about what it is that you're needing. And so this also gives you a chance to really practice narrowing down what you're looking for, and to look for and to identify, the potential behaviors that you're looking for, so that you can, with lightning precision, have some focus. Now, it might mean that you don't get 1,000 swipes. Not anybody's getting 1,000 swipes, but it might mean that there are fewer people kind of reaching out and wanting to engage with you, because, you know, once you put out what you're looking for your unicorn, not, 1,000 guppies. You're looking for your one or couple of ones, because I didn't say this earlier, but I do hope you're dating, at least in the beginning, multiple people until you get to your person. And so Bell Hooks says that, right, that in order to think about pacing, in order to get to your person, we're trying to think about a lifetime love, not just a drive-by love. Now, you might need to practice some drive-bys until you get your ones. I'm going to say two last things that I should have said earlier. And so this might be the deal breaker. You might have listened to the whole thing, been with me, working through the workbook, and I hope you've listened through the video before you do the workbook. But slow love means slow dating, and slow dating means not moving faster than the speed of your heart. And what I mean by that is, I hope you can hear or anticipate that I'm asking you to sort of postpone a lot of physical touch, a lot of the physicality of relationships. Actually, I'm asking you to not have sex until you're ready to make a commitment. In part because of the physiology of attraction and love and connection. The faster you go physically, the faster the pace of the relationship will go, and the harder it is to date with your brain open. So if you can be slow and steady and postpone the cuddle, the making out, the actual going all the way until you are ready to, this is your person, the better this all will be, the better you will feel, the closer you will get to your person. And again, I have heard those, we met, we've had sex on the first date, and we have been together 15-year stories. I have heard that. And those are the once in 1,000 stories, because more than likely what I've heard is we met, we had sex, we dated for 6 weeks, and then we were like, how did we get here? And then we had our first disagreement. And then because we were already intimate, we ended up spending 2 years together, and we were miserable for most of that 2 years because we didn't realize we didn't know who each other was, but we started making a relationship work even though we didn't have the things to make a relationship work. And so I've invested 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or 10 years with somebody who couldn't be my person because they didn't have the willingness, ability, or capacity to be my person. So let's protect your heart and think going the distance, slow and steady. You deserve the love of your lifetime. And so until we connect again, be well and remember you deserve all that is in store for you. And I don't want you to settle.